Ah, the life of a passport bro, where an average man can travel to a third world country and find a beautiful dime piece that he could never get in the US unless he was rich. So is this a life hack for the average man, or is this too good to be true?
When you pay attention to the passport bros, like they're getting women from like the DR, Colombia, the Philippines, Thailand, like women that can speak very little English, women that don't have education, women that
need them. Women are raised to be wives. Mm-hmm. They learn everything from birth, from their father, from their mother, how to be a wife and how to support your man.
The passport bros are starting to get a bad reputation because no country wants foreigners to come in and take all their beautiful women.
Passport bros, I know that's been one of your favorite destinations to go to, man. I know y'all been in Colombia, we ain't got those numbers in yet. But I know y'all been going to DR, man, ever since y'all find out you get it for the 40. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if inflation causes prices to go up, man. So if you're a woman that's dating a man that travels to the DR for fun, test them. If you're married, man, and he go to DR a lot, test them. We all know what these dudes are going over there for, man.
So local men and women are striking back by spreading false rumors, scamming, and sometimes even killing passport bros. Check this out.
One day he came back from work and the apartment was cleaned out. She left and disappeared.
Forrester says his son was heartbroken when his wife refused to return his calls, then blocked him. He says Jason decided to fly to the Dominican Republic to talk with her family, hoping they would help convince her to return to the marriage. But after the phone call from the airport 2 weeks ago, Marcus Forrester says no one, not his family or friends, has heard from Jason. Calls to the Dominican embassy have produced no helpful information, he says.
On tonight's episode of Thursday Night Therapy, we discuss passport bros, real winners or real losers. Let's talk about it.
Hey.
Champagne
Welcome to
D.
Thursday Night Therapy. What? Your therapist is out. Show where we dive into the good, the bad, and the downright awkward conversations we all have, or maybe should have, in therapy. Tonight's topic: passport bros, real winners or real losers. Let's talk about it. But before we get into that, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that every time that we go live, you know when we are up. Just a reminder, tonight's topic: passport bros, real winners or real losers. Let's talk about it. But first, let's talk about current events. What's up, fellas?
What up? What's going on, y'all?
Great. I feel good. You know, you saying something at the beginning, Dante, I have like this nasty little feedback from you.
Yeah, no,
it's like a delay.
Okay?
Yeah, it was like a little delay, so I didn't. I'd be tripping.
Yeah, no, I've got a storm out this way. It cut out for a second, so no, you're good. I wouldn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, let's get into it.
How y'all doing?
Doing all right. Sure. Just trying to enjoy my sunny day out here in the Southwest. I heard y'all got some rain, but it's dry and sunny. So hey, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
It looks like it, man.
Yeah, nice and sunny out here.
I can't wait till we got sun and you got rain. I know. I can't wait till we got sun and you got rain. I can't wait.
That very rarely is going to happen. We get over 300 days of sunshine. So
that's very true. Yeah, that's something to be jealous about.
Okay, so you was cutting in and out on the intro for me, so I didn't catch that part. But I definitely caught the full intro video, and I just wanted to clarify one thing before we get started.
Okay.
Did fam say they had it for $40 in the Dominican Republic?
Yes.
Did he say that? Champagne? Did he say that?
I think that's what he said. That's what I heard. That can go. That can go for a lot of places. But is that the same price here though?
No, not no more. It's not that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Why are you asking me that? Do I look like I know? I don't know.
Look, let me tell you. I know a lot of guys who have been honest with me and they paid for pussy. And these are some guys who are very, very attractive, and I'm confused why they have to pay for it. I don't judge. I don't know. Guys, you guys need love too. If you got paid for it, that's fine. I don't even think there's anything wrong with it. If anything, that allows you to hurry up and do what you want without having to do all the bullshit.
So why is it you that have to pay for it then, and not? Maybe somebody pays for it because they have a lot of money and it's something that they want. They pay for what they want. Maybe they don't have to pay for it. They prefer to.
Yeah. I think two things can be true. I think some guys just. I have a friend. He's attractive, but he likes being a playboy. He doesn't want to get married. He just wants to be out here and trick on a couple women. I love that. That's for him. He could, if he wants to, he could get it without having to do that. He's a man with a lot of money. That's just what he likes to do. And I love that for him. But I know there's some guys who are really just crazy awkward with women. Like they can't even look at women in the face. So they pay for it just because they can just sit there and she does everything. He knows at the end of the day, no matter what, he's going to get that sex. It's a guaranteed win for him.
Anywho, I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my chest real quick. Chuck, what did you have on the main video, on the intro video today?
Okay, like I said, about today's topic about Passport Bros, winners or losers. You just got to understand that we live in a vacuum, and location matters in success. Okay, and I'm just give you an example. When I first started traveling as a young man, like one of the first places that I went to was West Virginia, right? And in West Virginia, it was a completely different environment than it was in Ohio. The women were, they were a lot slower than, they had no swag. The way they dressed and everything was a lot different. But a lot of them, they was bad though. You know what I'm saying? But they just talked country, but they was from a different part of the country. And so by me being from a different place, I was a big fish in a small pond up there, just like, okay, back in the 80s, like when rap and stuff started getting real popular, when anybody that was from New York that came to Columbus, girls was sweating him because he had a New York accent. And he just had a different swag and the way they moved, the way they talked and everything. So it was different. So that was like some of the, first times that I had, as a young person dealing with, going to different places, actually seeing the success that I had being like in a different part of the country. Now let's take this for the Passport Bros. I'm gonna play you the first clip where, like I said, things are really good. I mean, it's like a personal hack. For a young man that's average who could actually go somewhere and acquire somebody that he wouldn't normally be able to acquire. Because, it's just like when you go online, we be ordering stuff from here, like, Lazarus and I said Lazarus, Macy's, Gucci and all that kind of stuff. But when you go overseas, shit, you could get the same thing you can get from there, at a discounted rate. It might be knockoff, but it's at a cheaper rate, just like with Shein and all that. Sometimes you got to go international to get the same type of quality that you might pay 10 times the amount for here in the U.S. So basically, this is a hack that they are using to actually get over and to get, something that they really desire, because a lot of times they can't get it here unless they make a lot of money or they're famous or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and play the first video. Hold on 1 second. Let me cue this up, and then we're going to talk about this. Hold on. And the first one is about the good part of the Passport Bros. We're going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly tonight. This is the first one right here. This is the good part. I'm about to show this. Here we go.
Hola, mami. Hola, Nikki.
Okay, I have 90 days on my visa, so I can tell from now it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna have a great time. I'm gonna be her roommate. She's finally gonna have a roommate. And we're gonna have a great time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's cheers. Cheers to that.
Listen, this is not my girlfriend, this is my friend, okay? I stopped with this girlfriend bullshit, W or not. I just woke up. I not only wake up with one girl. I wake up with her friend, look. Hola. So then, the madness in Brazil continues, my friend. Hey, I have two good girlfriends. That's my Chikuna name, Kirchi, knife. They're taking a little bath, yeah.
That's praia.
Praia, see. It's the Amazonian beach, yeah.
As you see on the last clip, this white dude from like either Australia or South Africa, he went into a tribe and they named him the chief of the tribe. They gave him 3 women and he's living out his dreams. And as you see, he's just an average white boy. He would never get that in the US or any other European country. But since he is from somewhere afar, they look at him a lot more different. You feel me? So that's why they are traveling overseas to actually, to acquire these women because they can live out their dreams. They can be a movie star. You know what I'm saying? They could be everything. Yeah. They can live out whatever they want and be happy. And like I said, bro, these young guys, man, all they looking for is a great sexual experience. You know what I'm saying? That's all they looking for as a young man. That's the funnest thing that you can do. And like I said before, it's the highest high that you could get naturally without taking drugs is a great sexual experience.
Thank you, love doctor. So first of all, did y'all see that white man with the Second of all, that first boy, did y'all see the first guy on the video?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
I think she called him Biggie, first of all. I think the beginning when she said, hey Biggie, or something like he was walking, he was holding her hand. Boy, you could never. Okay, I get it now. So no, I mean it's a classic. It's a classic case of changing your surroundings, your location to increase your value. Kind of like Chuck was saying, a Prada purse costs different, holds different value in different places. Michael Jordan shoes hold different value in different places. So do fat black niggas and corny white boys. They hold different value in different places. I've seen some videos online where black men have gone over to, like, I don't know if it was Japan or China, but have you guys seen that stretch where, like, black man, like, they love black men in certain places where you don't see black men, to Chuck's earlier point, where it's not frequent, him in West Virginia or a guy from New York in the middle of Columbus, Ohio. A lot of the times when you're not from somewhere, and I've experienced that too, moving around and having moved to the South, when you're not from somewhere, it's like, in one place you're this person, and in another place they value you differently based on, how limited that particular resource is. So cats are going where the American dollar goes a long way. And as a man, your value is largely based in being able to provide. What's happening is these guys are going to places where they can provide better and more than all of the other people large and far. And what happens with any man in any country who can provide more than all of the other men is he usually gets exactly what those guys are getting. So it is a hack, in a way. I think that when we talk about it on the front end, it's a hack definitely to gain those experiences. Like you said, women that some of these people would never touch or even be spoken to, etc. So it is kind of a hack low key when you think about it on the front end.
Okay. I'll jump in the double Dutch rope. I'm sure all the men are watching this are like, oh, I know she's gonna have something shitty to say about the passport bros, and I will. But I don't necessarily think passport bros are good. I don't necessarily think that they're bad. I think, like, in many groups, right, you got some who are actually like, they're decent individuals. Maybe they're just not, they don't fit into necessarily this culture. Maybe they're more valued in another culture. Maybe Black people call this type of dude, or women, happens to women too, corny or cornball. So they kind of got to alter where they go. Like you guys said, you got to change your surroundings. And even some of these popular women bloggers on YouTube who are like level up women coaches, they even advocate like, hey, if you're out in Miami, it's really high. The competition is very, very high. So if you're in Ohio 10, you might get down to Florida and be a Miami boy.
Yeah.
It depends on what part of Ohio. We got so many great places, right? So I don't think that you're necessarily a loser or you give up. I think, if your ultimate goal is to be in a relationship and you're ultimately want to share your life with someone and you want to move around in that relationship gumbo, I think you should go to someplace that values you so that you can have a higher chance. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to dating, a lot of it is really just about probability. It's a numbers game. The more people you meet, the more likely you'll be exposed to someone who's compatible for you.
Spoken like a real man. I like it. He said,
hey, but that's right though. Remember, and normally the further you go away from your origin, the more valuable you are. Remember, America, we are trendsetters, and especially the Black culture in America are trendsetters. That is the thing that is the most, like, in America, that's our most our most valuable natural resource is Black talent. You know what I'm saying? That's what actually got us through slavery and everything. The singing, the entertainment, and things like that. That we can make a very bad situation look good. We are masters of that. Whatever situation that we're in, we could be in jail, or we could be poor, we could be on a slave ranch or whatever, but we can make it look good and make other people jealous of us because of the talent that we have. You know what I'm saying? So when we go overseas, they prize this. You know what I'm saying? And I want to before we move on to the bad side of the Passport Bros, I want to talk about the actual origin of the Passport Bros. Okay, so I'm gonna play this little clip, and this is kind of how the Passport Bro era started. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and we're gonna talk about it. Here we go. Passport Bros actually started back in World War II when Black soldiers went overseas during the war as cooks and porters and found out that white women there loved Black men. And as soon as they left American shores, they were no longer considered niggas, as illustrated in the 1995 movie The Affair. And they found out that the greatest natural resource that America had was Black talent. So a lot of those soldiers, they just quite frankly never came back home. Okay, and as you see in the clip, like I said, if you haven't seen it, that 1995 movie, The Affair, it shows that when Black soldiers went over to Europe during World War II, white women really just went crazy over them because they never really seen Black people. And like I said, they didn't look at them as niggas. You know what I'm saying? And they were mesmerized by the talent and fell in love with a lot of them. And a lot of them weren't getting treated like they were in the racist army and in America. So a lot of them, like I said, they really never came back home because they got great treatment, and they actually found a place that would accept them and treat them higher than a nigga or a Negro or whatever you want to call it. It's just really fascinating. Like I said, there was one time where like they had a eBay show, right, where there's people all over the country here, and they like this lady came up and she was talking to this guy. He was actually from Australia, right? And he was like, what's that Black guy's name? He said, who was the Black guy that's the DJ here? Or whatever the case may be. And then the lady came back, and she was from another country. She was like, oh, you mean the DJ over there that's American? Like, they look at it completely different. They classify us as Americans when you go overseas. They don't look at us as niggas like they do. Now, there are, of course, there's always racism everywhere you go, but the racism that we face here in America and the treatment that we get is probably the worst treatment that we'll get anywhere in the world. So you got to, pay attention to that. Once you leave these shores, you are no longer a nigga. You are an American. So it's a little bit different, from, like I said, from people that I talk to and experiences that I've had from different people that are not from here, foreigners.
I got a little bit of a different take on it. I do believe that was a time where it was probably looser. But another thing about that is that a lot of our soldiers, they were going over there. This is not funny, but it's unfortunate. It's uncomfortably funny. They went over there, and while they were over there, they made a lot of babies over there. And this is the Korean War, where we all during the 1950s, and they all went over there, and there were a lot of pregnant single Korean moms, and they had so many children from this. They called them GI babies, and these were Korean women and American soldiers. And then they were impoverished, so they had to get rid of these babies, and they would adopt them out to people here in America. So there's groups and pockets of people here in America and in other countries, but a lot of times here in America, of half Korean people who are trying to find their families from Korea because their parents gave up because they were biracial kids. So, even though they're going over there and they're more accepted, yeah, they were put in orphanages. Yeah, it's crazy. So you guys got to go check out some of these documentaries. And a lot of it is because the kids would not have been accepted over there because some of them, they were part Black. It is a crazy amount of them. I got to go to a parade last year, a festival. And I didn't realize how big of a group, and like about 90% of the people were there. They were half Korean. They were trying to get in touch with their roots, but they were all born in like the 1950s, and they were GI babies. So go Passport Bros.
Right, but again, like I said, the foreign people have they wanted that Black D. You feel me? There's a stigma about it. So it's almost like taboo. So that's going to draw the women, because women normally, especially at a younger age, are rebellious anyway. Whatever you tell them not to do, they're going to try it. You feel me? So yeah. So like I said, we were looked at higher value there. You know what I'm saying? Wherever we went, just like when Hannibal invaded France, in Italy or whatever, there was a lot of dark-skinned Italians. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them had kinky hair because they went over there and they took heed on them females. You know what I mean? So that's just a natural thing, man. Like things that you are not used to, you're going to have there's going to be more value to it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, by the way that, like I said, with Black folks and things like that, we are valued, outside of this country. So yeah, I mean that's why I think that this trend has kept going on. I mean, like I said, I had a partner that was in the Army, and some girl wanted to marry him and all that or whatever, but he came back. You know what I mean? So it's just they love us, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why white people hate Black people anyway, because they know. They know our talent and everything. It's an envious thing, straight up. They envy Black people. That's why they try to be us, because they ain't us. And when we go overseas and things like that, they show it.
Well, yeah, I will say that does shed light on not only how we may be treated overseas, but how we are being treated on your own home base. Because it's completely natural to want to be where people view you and treat you at a higher or better regard. So no, that's spot on.
I don't know that they're treating you better because you're Black, though.
No, it's the fact. That's what I'm saying. It's the reverse. It's the fact that you get treated so poorly where you already are, that normal treatment seems like great treatment when you receive poor treatment every day. So I was saying it's relevant of both sides. If you're being treated poorly, normal regular treatment will seem like elevated or above average treatment, and it's viewed that way because you're coming from a poor situation in the first place. So I think it also sheds light on just how poorly we're treated in our own country, that when we go other places, some of them are probably just treating us normal. We're just taking it on that way.
Yeah, like a human being, right?
Yeah.
So you feel like you guys are being treated like dogs over here.
So first of all,
we less than dogs.
first of all, the movie was from World War II. Came out in 1995. We're talking about the entire concept.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, black people were being treated so badly.
They were.
That going other places and just being treated like a normal human being. I mean, you know, I know why they stayed, and I know why they felt like this is way better. I know why.
That's fair.
It sheds light on how your own country was treating you at the time, for sure. And that's a resource that you could ultimately lose. And you know, sometimes people don't know what they got until it's gone, type shit. But yeah,
that's true. That's true.
You ready to flip the script?
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Okay, before we flip the script, we're gonna go to some of the bad things about being doing a passport, bro. Okay, before we do that, I want everybody make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Because you know, we really appreciate. We're trying to grow the channel and everything, and we try to come up with different topics every week that that are relevant. And and we try and we learn together. We're learning here together. You know what I'm saying? And if you have any questions or if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, please contact us at loveandpainshow@gmail.com. As you see how it's spelled on the screen. Okay. All right. So okay, we're gonna go to the next. This is now remember, if you're planning on being a passport bro, right? You got to take heed to where you going. You know what I'm saying? Because every place ain't gonna treat you the same. Like I said, like we just talked about. When that guy went over to the South Pacific Island, he was treated. He became a chief of a tribe. Now, remember when you go to other countries, you're not going to get the same treatment everywhere. So don't think that as soon as you go anywhere in the United States that you're, anywhere outside of the United States that you're going to get royal treatment. This is how other black countries kind of view black men trying to go into their country. So I would advise you not to go into these countries right here. I'm gonna play this. Hold on, check this out.
Yourself an African black girl like us and marry us. And these are the benefits of marrying someone like, for example, East Africa. You get an East African community passport because immediately if you marry me, you become Ugandan.
We are together like the same way if I marry our...
It is worse. It is 1,000 times worse than what you think back home in Africa. At least for the country that I was raised in and the culture that I was raised in. Because here's the thing. African women, African young girls, we are raised to literally know that the man is the provider. In fact, a lot of African women don't even go to work. Their men are the ones who go to work and just bring the money home for the wife to budget.
Okay. Now, as you see in that clip, when you go over to places like Africa, which is a continent, in different places there, women are more commodities. They're not going to just let you come in there and take all their females and run. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to give them something for that. You know what I'm saying? They have more of traditional family ties there. Like I said, in the U.S., women here they give themselves up much easier than probably anywhere besides, like, European red light districts and things like that. But we right there. We right there. Women they're giving themselves up. They don't value the punani like they used to. You know what I'm saying? So it's very easy to have a sexual encounter with an American woman. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that you're just going to go into some of these countries and think you're just going to get everything off. Because, like I said, you got to meet their parents. You got to go through different hoops and things like that just to actually go on dates and even definitely marry. You're going to have to come up with some money. So these are some of the countries that you don't want to go to if you think you're going to have it easier than here in America, because it's real easy to get some here.
Wow, you act like other countries don't have. Other countries aren't so uptight with sex like we are. There's other countries who have a really healthy relationship with sex.
No, I mean, bro's point is that there's both. You got to know where you're going, because there's ones where you will have to pay to leave with that young lady, and I'm talking about real money.
Yeah. Dowry. You gotta pay a dowry, but if you're complaining about doing 50-50 here in the United States, you're going to have to do it no matter where you go. Because that's the thought process of, hey, you have to be a provider through and through. So if you don't like the 50-50 conversation here in the States, it ain't gonna work for you outside of the States. Cause what? She's gonna marry you to come over here to work? No. You can do that back home. You gotta take care of her. Is
Right.
that not correct?
I don't disagree.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the truth. But see, the thing is, the only thing about that is like the cost of living is so much cheaper in these third world countries, you know, that you can afford it. Like, you know, like I said, your income trumps everybody's. Like even like places like Jamaica, like the Jamaican guys that come in here and work, they send their money back to their family because the economy is not really all that unless you're around the tourist industry. You know what I'm saying? Most of those people that come here, they're sending money to support their families. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't, it's not as easy to make money there as it is here. So yeah, if you get you a retirement pension or whatever, you can work remotely, man, you would be a king. You'd be a king in these third world countries. But like I said, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, because when you're staying in these third world countries and you got the bag, oh, they're gonna try to get it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get set up, and it's gonna be a lot of things that you know, you gotta look out for. You know what I'm saying? So be careful when you go out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't know who might set you up. And like I said, they've becoming more intelligent about people coming over there because they know, you know, the Americans are sex crazy. We want sex. And they setting guys up, man. They scamming and everything. They, you know, they making people send money to them and things like that. And man, you know, like you said, you said you had a person that had a bad experience that you knew or whatever, that he traveled overseas and he got poisoned or something. You said?
Oh yeah,
Damn,
yeah.
you stop hijack chick story.
Yeah, he got tired of dealing with these American women, which it's fair to say that he was the issue, but you know, go off. That brings me to another point, but I'll get to that later. But he got tired of being with American women. He wanted to be with a woman who would allow him to cheat every now and then. And you know, it's reasonable. So he felt like, well, if you find the right woman, it's reasonable. She'll look the other way. But unfortunately, with those type of requests, you've got to have the bag. And he, you know, doesn't have that type of bag. So what he has to do, he has to go to another country. And he had been going there first time in school, second time. He just, I love it here. You know, start shitting on American women because that's what they do. They got shit on. They can't just enjoy themselves. They got shit on American women. And then the third time he goes there, he was hanging out, I guess, with the same people he got drugged. He got drugged. He couldn't get out of the system. It took him a while. I think it fucked up his nervous system. He had talked about there's still some issues with just, you know, just his touch and his movements and things like that.
What, they robbed him?
They did rob him. Yeah, they did.
Damn.
They did rob him and they poisoned him. Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked on his TikTok again. I will go look at him. I want him to know, like I'm talking about the business. But yeah, and because and again, and I'm all for it. Like again, if you're searching to go to other countries and you're genuinely like, I'm looking for a love, I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking to give, you know, I have nothing against that. But I feel like a lot of the passport guys are over there looking to take. Like, you're complaining about women not being wholesome over here and women being whores, but you're going over there to fuck 3, 4, 5 different women. Like shouldn't you be going over there to find a virtuous woman that you can get married to and settle down and have children with? So you're going over there and you're probably getting some of these chicks knocked up, you know, because why not? And now you're creating a whole bunch of dramas, which unfortunately, I know people feel like everyone loves black men, but they fetishize black men because of the thought process they have big dicks. But you know, one of the things they say once you go black, you become a baby mama. That's what they say in other cultures about us. Shut up, that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate to joke about. But that's a horrible attachment to have to your black men. So now we're going into these countries and we're not really marrying these women. So we're not really changing the stereotypes. Now these dudes are getting over there. They kind of want to fuck us up when they get over there. So they're working with the women because, you know, it's brown over everything. And they're setting guys up. Because of their own intentions.
Absolutely. You know, we have to understand there's always two sides to a coin. We talked about changing location and we talked about increasing value. We talked about how that works when it comes to the law of attraction and attraction of the opposite sexes. And we smiled and laughed and it was funny. But there's another side of that same high value, especially in places that don't see it often, especially in places that don't have it or don't have access to it. Just like Payne alluded to, Chuck alluded to, very easy to get set up or robbed because that's the easiest money that you could make. That story that Payne just told, that's the easiest money they could make. This is a situation where this man had been here multiple times. They had opportunity to clock him, see what he was about, ask questions. Yeah, how many brothers and sisters you got? They was able to size bro up and all of this stuff. And he felt like these were his friends. And that's how they was able to, that's a very easy lick. And he's not from here. The authorities around here don't really, it's extremely easy. So that same value that's going to attract women is the same value that's going to attract other people who want to extract that value from you. And I'm going to tell you something. People in the United States, they scared of jail. People not in the United States, my friend. They are not scared. Them some different people. So you don't want to go down there and get into it with nobody. Them folks in Brazil, in Colombia, Cuba, they don't play. There's some fine women. They don't play. Jamaica, Bahamas. I mean, like, who do you know always got a machete? So be careful because there's a flip side to that. And yeah, I'm gonna leave that for that. I got another point I want to make on that, but I'm gonna let y'all stay on this subject for now.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, and it's like I can tell you when you're young, man, like you just want different experiences and things like that. So the scenery, a lot of times it's beautiful. And I think it's just like how women be going on girls trips. You know what I'm saying? They go on girls trips and they do their thing and whatnot. And I think that a lot of people be hating on the passport bros though, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's men doing it and they going out doing the same thing that women be doing. Because I be hearing a lot of stories. Like I said, women be going out on the hunt and they looking for some exotic D. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna play this other video where this guy explains what they see us in these third world countries. Hold on one second. Let me bring this up. Here we go. Listen to this.
I've been traveling through South America for over a year, and here are the 3 main takeaways. First thing, and this is funny, you're exotic. You're exotic. I know it sounds crazy. You have an accent. The American accent is kind of trash, to be honest. But the fact that you have one, I think, peppers your words and gives everything you say a little bit of weight, a little bit of spice. It makes it more exciting. The second thing, and this is really important on dates, people love showing off their country and love showing you things that they love. Number 3, and this is one that most of the comments are about. There is a stereotype or stigma around Americans being rich, which is kind of true because our currency is like the global currency. So if you make $60,000 a year, you can live like you make $120,000 a year pretty comfortably.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like I said, they look at us as being exotic. I agree because it's something that they don't normally encounter. So
yep, I think we are rich too.
Right, exactly, and it, just like Champagne said, a stereotype. They think every dude, every black dude, especially packing 10 inches. You feel me? And
every American is rich. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I think it's just that stigma of just being in the presence of something that's different. When I see guys even come here like from different countries, they can get away with different things that men that we can't. Like I said, they talk with different accents. The way they like the Jamaicans and things like that. They talk a little bit differently, and a lot of times they get a lot of things off. You know what I'm saying? And they hold them as greater value. Like if you ever watched 90 Day Fiance, I'll be looking at like this one black girl. She was from Buffalo, and she just had like the most basic. He looked like he picked fruit. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he was from Mexico, he got away with everything. Like just because she spoke Spanish and she wanted a Spanish speaking husband. But this dude was straight garbage, bro. Like for real. But she held him as high value because he wasn't from here. You see what I'm saying? So, sometimes, like I said, the goalpost could be moved if, what I'm saying, there's a variable in there that somebody might look at. Like I said,
yeah, we talked.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week. I mean, you're absolutely right. So, especially if it's a person who already has money, like the lady you described who has money, who speaks Spanish, she wanted what she wanted. And I'm sure for this guy from Mexico, probably better off being here in the States, and he's probably got more money in his pocket and more freedom to do things, etc. I mean, so man, marriage has always been about equal beneficiary. So I mean, if we can both level up, I mean, I don't see the problem.
Yeah, it's a status thing. Like there's all kinds of hierarchies and privileges in life, right? You got skin color privilege, gender privilege. You've got all kinds of different privileges, and then you got some privileges that are like the top of the top that gives you such amazing treatment. And I think that you have, similar to a young lady who might have been a 3 or a 2, as you guys say, her whole life, and then she takes a magic pill and she becomes a 10. It's going to feel amazing. It's going to feel amazing when you're on top, because dudes are going to treat her way differently than when she was a 2 or 3. Before, they didn't even see her. They didn't hold the door open for her. They just walk past her. Now they just throw themselves down on the ground. She can step on them because she's so pretty. Like they'll let a beautiful woman disrespectful, and that woman will love it because she's never experienced it. When you're at the top tier, it's a whole entire different feeling. And these are the guys like this. That's why when you guys say these average passport guys, they're going to these countries, and these average white boys and average black guys are getting chicks because they're used to being treated average over here. Now, but these women, they're, again, when you're going over there, these, as you guys like to point out, they're not like American women where we sit here and we date for a little bit and then, or no, we talk for a little bit and then we start having sex. And then like somewhere along the way, I don't know, you get tired and now you're in a relationship. Over there, in many cultures where the sex isn't like you have to be married, it's as soon as we start having sex, we go together. So when you guys are going to these different countries and you're being intimate with these women and you don't even know their custom, you're kind of like using them, right? So they're going to do everything they're going to do everything you say because in their mind, they really want to be with you. And then many of them are trying to get to the United States because you guys are going to like cities where it's pretty poor. So why would you not try to do everything this man says? Why are you like, oh, let me not fuck it up? Because you want to try to get to the United States. It's not that you're necessarily raised to be a wife. It's the fact that you realize I got to kiss a lot of ass in order to get to the United States. Because once I get there and once I get married, it's up. Even Eddie Murphy talks about marrying an African woman and bringing her over here. And she's like, you treat me like animal Eddie.
I do remember that.
That's what happens. But it was like someone who loves you, they're going to love you regardless. But there's women who see this as an opportunity from other countries. And how that's not seen is mind-boggling to me.
Well, listen, I mean, that aligns with the second point that I wanted to make, but it's not that mind-boggling. No, I'm glad you brought it up. It gives me a great segue. But I'm glad you brought it up because, again, we talked earlier about there being two sides to a coin. When going to a country with your value being increased and how that's going to also increase it in the eyes of certain predators as well. Well, it's the same thing in these relationships. Walking into other countries and your value is largely placed in what you can provide and it's largely placed in your money. And while that works to attract, while that works for initial attraction, you've never lived a life of a rich man. Rich men often feel void of love because when you lead with your money, that is that main value that you provide. When people come to you for money over anything or see you in that lens, oftentimes you feel that way. So just like we said that people see you, people view you through a particular lens and that's how they're going to treat you. When someone views you as a money piece, when someone views you as a major provider, they're going to treat you as such. And they're also going to hold you to those failures. One of the things in the story that was shared in the opening of today's show with the gentleman who was from Miami and went down to the Dominican Republic and disappeared for weeks was that he brought this young lady from the Dominican Republic back to the States with him, and they were struggling financially. Well, you have to imagine that for a woman who entered a situation putting so much value in a man's finances that when she found out she was broke, women are still women. Why would she be here if that was in fact the main attracting factor? Fellas, if you pick a woman because she has a beautiful face and then she takes you back to her country and cuts her face off, chances are you're not going to stay. So when you allow people to place so much value in that particular area, you're also going to be held to those standards. And you know better than anybody that you're not really living like that. So often you end up being a provider, you end up giving money, stressed about not having money, and still not feeling that deep-rooted love that what do they call it? Oh, unconditional love that we all looking for. It's very difficult to get that in situations where you're leading with your money in these other countries in the first place.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's great points. Great points. And it's like, and like I said, everything is a vacuum. Why are the passport bros even like considering going out of the country to find some where they should be able to find in their own cities? It's a big old thing where it's like it's a battle of the sexes, man. Like we are put at war with our woman, and this should be our greatest asset. But instead of us actually taking advantage of that, we try to look overseas. A lot of them, they don't have nothing in common with what we have or to our experience. But we want to go over there because we seek other things. Just finding a feminine woman is kind of hard to find these days. You know what I'm saying? Women want to have bass in their voice. They have messed up attitudes and things like that. It's hard, man. You know what I'm saying? So when you go somewhere else and somebody is submissive, then you're going to you're going to be more attracted to that. Because like I said, as a guy, we want to be treated like a man. You know what I'm saying? By our peers and by our woman. And if we're not, then we're going to go seek that. You know what I'm saying?
And those women, they study that. I mean, they're raised. They literally are raised that way. That's a primary function of their upbringing, taught to them by the women in their family, not even the men. So their mentality is different up front, and it is attracting up front. But when you're going to do life with somebody, you'll want to understand how important it is to have some of those commonalities and some of that relatability to the same struggle, and being able to give your partner that look and they know what you mean. Sometimes when she don't speak no English, it's hard to do that. So keep some of those things in mind too, fellas. Like, it's a lot of upfront great things going on, but when you get down to the deep root of it, there's some other things that you want to make sure that you consider before you make a lot of those commitments.
I definitely want more of the guys to go out and travel and meet more of the women, and actually like, instead of just spending like a week to try to get laid, just really because I know there's this ideology that women in other countries are so submissive, they're so feminine. Yeah, you can do that in intervals. Absolutely. You can do that in the little 3 hours we spend together. You can do that in the 2 days we spend together. But women in other countries, they're not like, even Asian countries. And we're not even talking about Americanized Asians. I'm talking about your Ajumas in Korea. Before they get real saucy, they get real spicy. The men aren't talking to them like crazy. The women, you gotta listen to the men's complaints. The men in other countries are having the same problem as the men in the United States. It's a thing all over, because people are people no matter where you go. I also look at some of those passport bros that they have internal issues. Because one of the things you brought, let me say, not all of them, the ones who are truly traveling because they truly want a connection, this does not include you. But the ones who just go over there to spread their willy all the way around, it's wild that you sit here and you complain about American women and their whorish tendencies, but you go to other countries to make other women whores? I got 3, 4, 5 different women. You're not giving them what they need. And a lot of them, they had issues over here, personality issues. That's why their stuff wasn't working. They weren't mistreated. They weren't beat down. They were a cause of a lot of their issues. But instead of saying, hey, let me look internally, let me fix it, let me get myself right, they run away and they go to another country because, hey, these women, because they want a man so bad, they have to accept who I am as long as I got money. I don't have to do any type of internal work. I just got to have money and they'll be all on me. And now you're creating problems over there in other countries. And the bad thing about it is it's associated with a lot of African-American men. So now when you guys, right now, you may be revered in another country. But if this behavior keeps happening of where you guys are just going over there and just slaying women left and right, because I know some of them are going to be making babies. I know there are going to be a lot of baby mamas. You're going to
We ain't heard nothing like that. I don't know where you got this. Where you brought all these kids and stuff. You think niggas is going to other countries and fucking bitches who fuck for money raw?
Oh, yeah.
Now listen. Niggas don't, okay. Men don't fuck women that they gotta pay to fuck without pretend. That's, you know, she does this every day, right?
So they're going over there for just prostitutes, or they're going over for the good girls?
A lot of the passport bros are going over there literally spending money. It's $40 in the Dominican. I just found that out. A lot of niggas is going over there and they're spending money and having a good time. And again, you were talking about two different people. You know, you got the men who, like you said, were going over there maybe looking for love or whatever. But you have men who literally go out of town and they spend money on these women. And yeah, man, I hope them boys strapping up.
Man, you know they're not.
Getting with a chick in a whole nother country who are profession is to have sex with men from who come in.
I hope so. They're not. If she's fine enough, they're gonna be like, man, I'm taking it off if she's fine as hell. And those chicks are like, they get pregnant. You know, in their mind, they think that you're going to sit there and take care of their kids. But little do they know, you're out of there.
Oh, this is made up, man. What you got, Chuck? Bring us back to reality.
I bet you.
Like I said, is women are hating because, like I said, especially black women in this country, they don't like to see men going out dating people from different cultures and different races. That's just a natural thing because
we love that for you. You guys started it. We love that for you.
No, you guys, okay, yeah, y'all don't love that. Stop playing. No, yeah.
I love that.
It's both sides.
Maybe though. You, but
both sides though.
In general,
I don't complain about that. I love if you feel like that you will do better outside the United States. Why would I be mad about that? Like, what does that do for me?
It's both sides because it's men who complain about the girls' trips, and it's girls who complain about the passport, bro. Like, it's both sides. Everyone isn't everyone, but the people who are affected by it are complaining about it. I think that the average Joe, the average people who sit in the middle, like we've discussed before, who don't necessarily want to do the work, are probably the ones that have the problem with it.
Right. And I think, like, just in general, what you find with young men, you know, me dealing with, like, you know, my nephews and just, countless hours, at community centers and things like that. Most young men are always going to look for the path of least resistance. You know what I'm saying? So if they feel that they can get something at a deal or they don't have to work for it as much, then they're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? They want to find somewhere where it's a lot easier. And quite frankly, a lot of these men do not know how to deal with women in general anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They are dysfunctional when it comes to relationships. Yeah. So if they can come and flash their little couple dollars that they're making, like the average medium income or whatever, then yeah, it's a lot easier because here in America, remember, women are making just as much as men most of the time. So you ain't gonna press none of these women. She got her own Bentley or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, what you gonna do with that? So over there, if, like I told you, when I was, that was when my first marriage, that was one of the things that I liked about when I was dating younger women, when I was married, because of the enthusiasm that they had about basic shit that my wife took for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Straight up. So like I said, it's the same thing with that. If you go over there, like, say you spend in a $100 hotel or something like that, they're going, they used to stay in and shit in shacks.
Agreed.
So, that's like staying at the damn, Waldorf Astoria for them. You feel me? So it's just you're just looked at in a lot different light, and for the first time in a lot of these guys' life, you know, as I showed where you had the guy dating the Japanese girl, she wanted to move in. You know what I'm saying? Like off rip.
Yep, it's finally easy.
Yeah.
All those things make it easy, and a lot of those guys don't get to experience easy exchanges with women. Kind of like Chuck was talking about, you deal with maybe somebody younger, less experienced. They often are amazed by the slightest of things, and it does make you feel good. I used to tell the story about I was talking to this young girl before, a long time ago as well, and I had a Lincoln SKZ or something like that, MKZ. And like she got it, it lit up around the doors, and I rode in this car every day. You know what I mean? Like, but it had lights around the doors. It was touch screen. It had a panoramic, like the whole roof went back. But I rode in this car every day. She was so amazed at how nice my car was, and I can't lie, that made me feel good. Took her to a place to eat. Wow, this is nice. And the thing is, women don't understand how simple compliments to what they do for us from you all. The simplest, you look nice. This is nice. Thank you. Oh, wow, I've never been here before. We love that energy.
Right.
But and it's like we crave more of that. And it's just like a lot of the time you do experience that with the people who just haven't experienced it before. So you're right.
You are absolute. There's this guy at my job, and I always say I work with predominantly men. And like I get compliments. I give compliments because I'm just a complimenty type of person. No matter what you are, I'll give a compliment, even if you're a kid. And there was this one guy there, and he gave me an answer to something. I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. You're so smart." And he's like, "Ma'am, I don't need no cookie to do what I'm supposed to do." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "People can't tell you to do a good job," and he just like he had this kind of like internal battle, like he didn't know how to take it. And next thing you know, he's like, "Yeah, when I was a kid, my mom and dad, they weren't really there. My mom showed me to look out for me." Like he like
Dang.
But it's
That's
like
funny.
But it's just, and I do agree with you guys. I don't know what I can't attest to a man's interaction with a woman, right? I only can attest to my interaction. But as a person who gives men compliments, and these are just, and I understand why women don't do it a lot to some men, because if you give a certain guy a compliment, he gonna think you want to fuck. And it's like, no, I just want to just say something nice. He's gonna try to shoot a shot at you, and it's like, no. So it's just better off you don't say anything. But I just say no, thank you. If that happens now, I'll give you a compliment. Say no, thank you. So compliment men, women, please. They need it. They go down here fuck Colombians and getting poisoned and shit.
But that's funny that you said that, because I remember I was talking to this young lady, right? And I mean, which she was a little cute little chocolate thing or whatever, but she talks so sweet and everything, right? Mm-hmm. So before I'm about to hit, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm looking at her, you sweet motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And she looked at me like, I'm not sweet. I'm like, oh, damn. And you know what? She was right. She was a rotten motherfucker, man. So you can't even give these motherfuckers compliments, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What the fuck was that? You know what I mean? So, yeah, y'all women, man, y'all need to all we want to do is be appreciated. That's it. Just appreciate us, man. That's all we want, man, as men. You know what I'm saying? Just the little things we do, just appreciate some of the things that we do to make us feel more like men. That's all we want, man. We're very easy creatures to figure out. The passport pros are just searching for that. That's why they're going out of the country, even though a lot of the shit is fake, but they still want to be treated like men. That's it.
The fact that bro said, "I'm glad you said that," got me weak.
Right. And then he was like,
hey, you can't. That's what I'm saying, man. It's just crazy, man. Y'all crazy. Shit, you know what I'm saying? That's why I got out the game, man. Shit, fuck this.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's our time. Hey, any final thoughts and shit you got? Let me start with you, Dante. What final thoughts on this topic?
I got a quick one for y'all. Listen, man, it's okay. Go out of town, go out of sea, go overseas, do your thing, Wody. I got you. But, man, if you got work to do on yourself, man, do that work on yourself. Because no matter what you lead with, whether it's your money, your personality, your good heart, your love, at the end of the day, you got to have it all to maintain a family, maintain a wife, maintain a household. So still do the work, fam, even though it's easy over there.
All right. What about you, Champagne? What's your final thoughts?
Thomas Little Sr. says, "Why are you talking like Tyson?" I don't know that it sounds like that, but I just thought you sound like that. Sorry, Thomas. My thought, men, hey, have fun.
She hates us.
All right. So yeah, my final thought is, like I said, man, listen, and we're all looking for love. We're all looking for validation. That's why I think that the Passport Bros has grown like it is. It is a battle of the sexes thing where we are pit against our woman. Just, you don't have to go out of the country to find love or to find validation. You just got to learn how women operate, man, and find the right woman for you. But if you can't, then, I feel you. If you have the means, travel while you can, because you only live once. But that's our time. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please come back here, same place, same time.
Subscribe.
That's right. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.
This is my father, Big Chuck. He taught me the pimp mentality from the crib, so I was never faithful in any relationship. Until one day, 6 years ago, I looked at all the broken hearts and pain that I caused and decided it was time to level up. So now I'm a happily married man who still doesn't stand for the trick mentality that is destroying our community.
I'm Champagne, a single woman on a journey to build a life rooted in self-love, balance, and authenticity. I'm exploring the ups and downs of personal growth, embracing independence, and creating space for joy, peace, and purpose. Whether you're on a similar path or just curious about the ride, this is your space to feel seen, inspired, and empowered.
I'm Dante. I'm the realest of the group. I'm once married and now divorced and dating as a single father. Here to bring a grounded perspective, pushing past all the fluff and getting to the heart of what really matters.